Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Shrishtam Nanamapi Shachiputramatra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Agrajamurupurim Maturim Goshtavitim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tamatosmi Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ataf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivashaka Vitamscha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sri Vishnu-sahasranama, name 625, is Jyotir-ganesvarah. Jyoti means light. You all know that. I think that must come in Tamil also, is it? Gan means persons. And Ishvara means the controller, the master. So this name means that Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the Lord and Master of the luminaries, which means the stars, the sun, the moon, who are all people. In Vedic culture, everything's personal, except the idiots who are impersonalists. They want to deny all personality, but everything's personal. There's a presiding deity over everything. Nothing goes on by chance. Yeah, so he's the Lord of those who are giving light, those who are luminous, those who are effulgent. That's the meaning of the name. There are two major understandings of this name. One is the straightforward understanding that he is the master of the stars, the sun, the moon, and so on. This is the meaning given by Shankaracharya. Another meaning is that he's the Lord of the stars. Who are the stars? Well, you have cricket stars, film stars, music stars. That word is used. I don't know if it's used in your language. They don't say, but in English, they can say like that. They say stars because they're supposed to give, I don't know why they're called stars, but maybe they're supposed to give some light. They just give some darkness. They're a very poor imitation of the real star, the ones who give us light. Who gives us light? Ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Those who allow us to see the light by removing the darkness. The great personalities, the great devotees, and this Bollywood or Tollywood stars, they're just a very, very poor imitation of the really great people, who are those who are fully dedicated to Him. So Shankara, he gives the interpretation of the stars in the sky. and the other luminaries. Practically they fall into two categories. That means the sun and the stars, because the moon, by Vedic understanding, is also a star. Nakshatranam aham shashi, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that among the stars, he is the moon. And the meaning given by the Vaishnav commentator, Parashara Bhatta, is that he's the Lord of great personalities who are effulgent, actually. We see devotees are effulgent. Just like Krishna is effulgent. He is the source of all light. As we know from Krishna's childhood pastimes, he would enter into the dark storerooms where butter and yogurt was being kept, and he would steal that. So there was some proposal to take away the gems from Krishna's bodies, because gems, they're like little stars. They give light. They illuminate even in the darkness. But then the gopis whose butter was being stolen said, no use to take that away, because he himself, he's so effulgent by his own radiance. He can light up everything. So all light emanates from him, and devotees who are close to him, they also reflect the light. Atma Jyoti, you've probably heard that term. That's another term the Mayavadis like, but actually it belongs to real devotees who the light of the soul shines through. At the present time, we are covered, our consciousness is covered by lust, greed, anger, pride, illusion, envy, material attachments, misconceptions, egoism. Our consciousness is covered. When it becomes uncovered, then the natural light of the soul shines through. And these so-called film stars and cricket stars, they might glitter, but they don't give it. They don't give any real light. Hollywood, they call Tinseltown, right? Have you heard that? Tinseltown. Tinsel, what is it's some kind of paper which it glitters, but it's a very cheap thing. So they call it Tinseltown because it's all nonsense and make-believe, and there's nothing very substantial. People give so much importance to movies, isn't it? In America, in India, everyone knows what the latest movie is. They all go to see it and they discuss it. It's all just nonsense. Just imagination. It's an illusion within an illusion. Anyway, this whole material world is an illusion. And then they make up some story, and you're sitting in front of some screen, and there are no people there, but the person who watches that allows himself to imagine that it's real, and therefore they feel emotions like fear, and there's music to make you feel more fearful. And everyone knows it's an illusion, but they don't, because they partake of that illusion. So the Hollywood, Bollywood, Tollywood, or whatever else there is, Collywood stars, they might glitter, and foolish people are attracted, but they don't give any real light. The real light is given by great devotees. And the point here is that he is the master of them all. So either way you take it. Yadaditya gatam teja, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that the light of the sun, prabhashmi shashi suryayoho, and the moon, that is coming from himself. He is the light. In Vedic culture, also very important is astrology, right? Up to the present time, there are so many astrologers people consult. I was in Bangladesh for some years, and you'll find that the Muslims who could afford it, they'd also consult astrologers. One of our top, or one of our contacts there in Dhaka city was some astrologer. I can't remember his name now, but his main clients were Muslims because they'd also consult. But then if we remember that Krishna is the Lord of all the stars, then why should we be so concerned with the stars? Whatever's in our fate, that will come, and Krishna can change it. Clap your hands in kirtan in front of Krishna, and all the sinful reactions depart. Just like if you clap your under a tree, there are so many birds. Clap your hands, they'll all fly away. So Krishna is the master of all the planets, all the stars. So if we surrender to Krishna and allow Krishna to take charge of our life. Actually, he's the supreme controller, but we don't allow him to take charge of our life. We maintain some sense of independence. As that question came up twice yesterday in the questions and answers, there are questions which had to be answered by saying that Krishna gives us independence. But the perfection of devotional life is to give up our independence. Krishna gives us independence, and if we don't utilize it, if we don't say, okay, I'm independent, so I don't care about Krishna, then we come under the control of the various demigods who they supervise the material world. They're given a lot of importance by people who don't recognize Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're like the jail superintendents. And people worship demigods to fulfill their own material desires. Kang shanta karmanang siddhim yajanta iha devata ha kshipram hi bhavati loke siddhir bhavati karamaja. If you can get perfection of karma siddhi, in other words, one's work can be fruitful in this world quickly by worshipping the demigods. It's just like in a prison. If you work hard and you're given work to do, you work hard, you do it well, and you please the prison guards, then they can give you some cigarettes or something like this, what people in prison want. People saying, oh, demigods, very good. But they're also worshipping Krishna. Yang Brahma, Varunendra, Rudra. What is that? Yang Brahma, Varunendra, Rudra, Maruta, Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi. The demigods, they're worshipping Krishna. So better to worship Krishna. If we see the demigods are so great, yeah, but see who they're worshipping. You can worship him directly also. Directly means through the process of devotional service, through the devotees. That again brings us to the other meaning. If we have a strong link with the devotees who are strongly linked with Krishna, then we also become strongly linked with Krishna. Strong link means we don't keep our own personal desires in between. We surrender to Krishna. Then recognizing how great he is, then we accept Krishna's direction. He's the Lord of the stars, the moon, the sun, and everything in the universe, and then why should we want to be independent? Why should we make our own plans based on astrological advice or whatever? Whatever Krishna wants, we shall take that. Of course, devotees can utilize astrology in another way. Something like seeing a weather forecast. There's going to be a storm ahead. All right, well, maybe we won't organize an open-air program because the monsoon is expected early. So we won't, at that time of year, we won't have an open-air program. So like that we can utilize it, but we don't depend upon the demigods or anyone, we depend upon Krishna, knowing that the demigods, they also depend upon Krishna. A few nights ago, at the farm there in Karamandurai, after Mangalarti, I was walking back to the cottage that devotees have kindly constructed for me there. A few days ago means it was very dark, because now Amavasya has just passed, the new moon day, so it was just 2 or 3 days before the new moon day. And looking up, you see so many stars. By seeing so many stars, then naturally, what happens? Well, Srila Prabhupada discusses that. In the first purport that he writes in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 1, Srila Prabhupada writes, "It is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation. At night he sees the stars in the sky." So I was thinking of that, I was looking at the stars. At night he sees the stars in the sky, and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. Such inquiries are natural for man because man has developed consciousness which is higher than that of the animals. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. He says that Lord Sri Krishna is the origin of all such creations, all creations. So we look at the stars at night, and we may wonder, whoa, how did that all come into being? How are we going to find out? Well, we can go to science class, but they don't know. They think they know. And they tell you what they think they know as a fact, but actually the fact is Janmadhyasya yataha. It's on the first verse of Bhagavatam. Everything comes from Krishna, including the stars. Seeing the stars at night should help us to become humble. Just realizing how small we are. Big stars. Cricket stars. Who's the greatest cricket star? Anyone know nowadays? You've all been out of the cricket loop for too long. I heard in Mayapur all the brahmacharis, they follow the cricket. Maybe not all of them, some of them. So, however big, whatever's going on in this world, how important is it? See the news, impending war between Russia and America. That's a big thing, isn't it? If Russia and America go to war, they maybe have to send you back and put you in the army in Russia. You're already in the army for how long? 1 year. They used to be 2 or 3 years, isn't it? They cut it down. Yeah. They make them all go to the army in Russia. That's big news, isn't it? Might not have time to think about it. We'll all just get nuclearized. What's the word for that? You just get vaporized in the nuclear bombs. Don't go back to Poland. Right in the firing line. The whole history is they're caught between the West and Russia, right? Poland. Big news. Yeah, it's like maybe we'll see 2 ant colonies, they're fighting each other. What do we care if some ants are fighting with? It's insignificant. So it's like that. If there's a huge war between Russia and America, look at it. Ask the astrologer if it's going to happen. We can ask the astrologers, and you can ask a few of them, and at least some of them will be right. It's because it's only yes or no. So it doesn't really help much. So, yeah, all the big affairs of this world, insignificant. We're also insignificant. In one of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings, he wrote something about that. We're not very much concerned with the situation in Afghanistan where the British forces are threatened by the Russians again. See, it's a long tradition. Britain and Russian, they don't like each other. They've been fighting it, even they're such a long way away. Why do they want to fight? If someone's next to you, you can understand, but why? They're such a long way away, and they're always Britain and Russia, and now they extended that to America and Russia. Anyway, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was talking about the situation in Afghanistan. This is in the 19th century. And hardly anyone nowadays has any clue that there was any clash in Afghanistan between Britain and Russia in the 19th century, but it was big news at the time. How small they all are. Time, great time, Mahakal. If we go to Madhya Pradesh, we'll find people there very much concerned with Mahakal. It's a name for Lord Shiva. In Ujjain, in that part of, in a large area of Madhya Pradesh, people identify with Mahakal, Lord Shiva. Great time. That's his name in Ujjain. So how tiny is our life? If Brahma sneezes, that's our whole life gone in his sneezing time. And in that time, our whole life has gone. And how small we are. And then we're so foolish, we're thinking, Karta ham. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha. Ahankara vimudhatma. Karta hamiti manyate. You think, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm so great, I'm so, I. Squash. Finished. All over. Modern man, he's so proud. He thinks we made so many machines, we're going to the moon, we've discovered so many things. But actually they became more foolish because they made a few toys and they think they're so great. Few mechanical devices. One reason people are more foolish in the modern age, more foolish means they don't recognize that we are controlled. Krishna controls all the stars, the moon, everything. Yat chaksharesha savita sakala grahanam raja samasta suramurti rashesha tejaha yasya gaya brahmati sambrita kala chakra govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The sun, 93 million miles away, and we can see the sun. Amazing, isn't it? Our vision goes even light years. The stars are so we can see them. Somehow or other we can see them. Can see 93 million miles. Wow, that's amazing. That sun, which has unlimited power, at every second, according to some of the things we learned in school, at every second, the sun gives out more energy than can be used by the human race in our light bulbs and various electric appliances than the human race could use in millions of years. At every second, the sun gives that out. And it's been giving it out since time immemorial, and still the sun isn't diminishing. how powerful it is. By the sun, the whole universe runs on. We can't see anything without the sun. But the sun is going in its orbit. You can see this is from the ancient Vedic Shastra, that the sun is moving on the order of Govinda. So he's the Lord of the sun and the moon. And yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti kotishvashesha vasudhadi vidhapati binnam tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The light and the power of all the various planets in all the very... How many universes? Millions and trillions of universes. And all the different situations in all the planets. It's all ordained by Krishna. And who is Krishna? He's Govinda. He's playing on his flute. Inconceivable. So if we consider that Krishna, he's the master of so great things, such great personalities, then who are we? But we don't think. We became more foolish because we made a few toys, some little gadgets, some phone with so many different things you can do with the phone. We become fascinated. Yeah, one reason why contemporary man is more foolish, he doesn't see the stars at night because of all the neon lights and because his head is down in his phone. So he never looks up anyway to see the stars. But it's just by seeing the stars, even if someone doesn't have a big education, he immediately can understand, I'm very small. The universe is far greater than I can understand. There's some higher powers at work here. Now that's a more important education than going to school and college and getting a degree and becoming proud that I know so much. We don't even know that we're insignificant. The stars, just by seeing them, we can understand how very, very small we are. And living in the modern cities, we don't see the change of the season so much because in the winter we're sheltered, and in the cold winter, which doesn't happen in Pollachi, there's no such thing as cold. Again, going back to Russia, the winter is cold. It's still colder, right? In Russia, it'll still not what you would call cold, but if you're taken from here to there, the people would think it's very cold there now. Still sub-zero in many places will be. Once I went from Delhi in May, I flew into Moscow. Delhi in May, we don't even want to think about it, it's so hot. And I landed in Moscow and it was snowing. But in modern life, they're all arrangements. In Russia, the first time I went, in 1986, I saw all the cities, they have an arrangement where they pump hot water. In most of Eastern Europe, was it there in Croatia also? In other communist countries I saw. The local city corporations, they arranged to pump hot water with insulated pipes to all the homes, so they get hot water for bathing and it heats the home like that. Very good arrangement, actually. Communists, at least what I saw, that no one was poor. I mean, everyone was poor, but let's put it the other way. No one was rich, apart from a few Brezhnev and this and that, but the basic necessities were taken care of. That's the point. Anyway, that's another topic. But, of course, you might have to stand in line for 2 hours to get some bread, but at least you got it. Yeah, that point, that we insulate, to use that word again. The modern life, it's made so you can be warm in the winter, and then there's air conditioning in the summer, so you don't feel the change of the seasons. I was just mentioning Amavasya, new moon day, but in the cities you don't know, you don't even see, you don't have any idea about it. Whereas if you're living closer to nature, then you see how in Amavasya at the night you can hardly see your finger in front of your face. But on the full moon night you can read a book, as long as if there aren't any clouds. It becomes so bright. So you see the changes, but in modern life we don't see. And in modern life, birth, death, old age and disease, all these miseries of life, which you don't see it. It all goes on in the hospital. There's a hospital for birth. Before everyone dies, you have to take them to the hospital for a few days and run up a bill of 10 lakhs. Anyway, they're going to die. But you have to take them to the hospital, otherwise people will criticize you. It's nonsense. If your elderly parents are on the verge of death, just let them die in their, chant Hare Krishna, let them die in their home. Otherwise, they take them to the hospital, stick all the pipes in them, give them all pills, and anyway they die. Just keep them at home and chant Hare Krishna. That's it. And then, in the Western countries, when people get old, they take them away and stick them in some home where no one sees them. I heard previously in Japan it was not allowed, even, I'm not sure whether it's by law or whether it's by social convention, to go around in a car that was old or damaged looking. Everything had to be all new looking. So it's like that. They don't want to see old, decrepit, infirm people. Stick them away, put them in some so-called home where we don't have to see them. So in this way, people, they don't see birth. It takes place in a hospital. They don't see death, sickness. If anyone sneezes, take them to the hospital. They don't see, it's all taken away, and we're just living in some dream world that we see in movies and the internet, and we don't see the effects of nature. And furthermore, with various machines, we have a sense that we are controlling. No, we don't see that we're controlled by the various higher powers, the planets, the demigods, and ultimately the Supreme Lord. And with the machine, you play computer games, and you're driving a car, and you feel, I'm controlling. This sense of control gives us the sense of power. It's all illusory. If we see and contemplate, now if we see the creation, then naturally we are inclined to consider the magnificence. If we see the magnificence of the creation, then we're naturally inclined to think of the magnificence of the Creator. Who are the atheists? It's not the people who are working in the fields. It's all people sitting with some desk and reading some book and conjuring things up in their minds. It's some mental construct. But those who live in Krishna's nature, on the lap of nature, then they can understand that we're all part of one. They may not even verbalize it or construct some theory in their mind, but they understand we're all part of some very great machine or mechanism. We're not the controllers. We're controlled. And actually all this science also, they're discovering so many things, but by discovering, instead of thinking, just see, we discovered. Now we're controlling nature more and more. But rather, with everything that they discover, they should think more and more, oh, how great is God, who creates everything, who controls everything. That should be the real vision of a scientist. But then they do so many They invent so many laws, they look at nature, what's going on, and then they make some theories and they say, oh, we don't need God anymore. In our theory, there's no need for God. So it's science and there's no need for God. In their imagination. Maya aparita jnana. Their actual knowledge is covered by illusion. And actually, this whole atheism, it's all a big philosophical construct by which people just want to enjoy their senses, which is what it comes down to. Ultimately, people just want to enjoy their senses. And to understand God, we have to control our own nature. They want to control nature, but first of all, they should control their own nature, control our out-of-control desires to dominate nature. So when we understand we can't dominate, there's no question of dominating, then we can become a little humble. I'll read a quotation from, humility is the beginning of spiritual life. The beginning, the middle, the end, the all in all. I'll read a quotation from Srila Prabhupada. He, Krishna, asked him, Arjuna, you become my devotee. And I, Srila Prabhupada is here taking the position of a materialistic person, I want to become another god, a competitor. So Krishna asks us to become his devotee, but we want to become a competitor. I'll become God. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, we are suffering. We cannot become another God. That is not possible, Srila Prabhupada says. We can imagine, I am God. You see, Mayavadis, they sit there imagining they're God, or they imagine some Baba or Bappa or Dada in Gujarat. You've all heard of Dada Bhagawan. No, you never heard. It's only in Gujarat, some few people in Gujarat, but they think he's God. Dada Bhagawan. I just know the name, that's all. So they invent so many, but is your Baba, he's really controlling on the moon and the stars and the sun? Or you're sitting there meditating thinking, Soham, I am God. Really? Really? You really think you're controlling the sun and see, I made the sun rise? No. The sun was going to rise anyway. You can imagine. You sit there 5:30 in the morning, sun, rise. Just see. I told the sun to rise and the sun rose. Well, try doing that at midnight. See if it works. But they imagine, people actually imagine, and they'll even speak of philosophy. You are God, we're all God, everything is God. I'm more God than you because I realize it, and I have to tell you that you're God. Such fools and rascals, and therefore we are suffering. We cannot become another God. That is not possible, Srila Prabhupada said. But artificially you are trying, therefore you are suffering. Mayavadis, they also see this world is full of suffering. But they think, why are we suffering? Because I'm not God. That's the cause of the suffering. Because we think we are God, or we want to become God. They got one thing right. Yes, we're suffering. But then the answer, they got it all wrong. And then they imagine, you see, this is all my lila. Oh, I got a terrible toothache. God gets it. This is all his lila. What lila? You have to go to the dentist and more suffering. So Srila Prabhupada says here, very important statement. Anything you try artificially, you'll suffer. Stick that on the wall. Anything you try artificially, you'll suffer. If you try for a thing artificially, then what is the result? The result will be suffering and disappointment. Therefore, Shastra says, Tasyaiva heto prayateta ko vidaha. Don't try for such things you have tried all through in different forms of life. You have failed, so don't try for that. but try to become a servant of God. Then your life will be successful. Because in the material world, the endeavor is how to become God in different varieties. How to become president. How to become a minister. How to become a master. How to become a very strong man, very wealthy man, very beautiful man, so on, so on, so on. Up to when everything fails, then I'll become God. See, someone, they want to be a film star or a cricket star or whatever they try, big businessman, everything they try fails, okay, now I'll become God. It's a loser's philosophy. How to be, when everything fails, then ultimately, now I shall become God. The same disease is there, how to become big, now the biggest. And that is the same disease in a different form. So this name is very important for us. Jyotir-ganesvarah. Who is controlling all the stars and the planets? There is a controller. It's not going on randomly. Yasyagya brahmati. The sun goes on his order. Then another kind of, if we say Jyotigan, luminous person, means the devotees. The Sri Vaishnava commentator, Sri Parashara Bhatta, he gives the names of Adi Shesha, Vishvaksenan, and there are so many, Garuda, Hanuman, and they themselves are lustrous, just as Bhagavan himself is Yadaditya Gatateja. He is the source of light, even of the sun. So the devotees, they're also bright. What is that Rig Veda? What is it? Tat Vishnu Paramang Padang Sada Pashanti Suryayo. What's the next line? Diviva Chakshuratatam Yadvipraso Vipanyava Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam. Yeah, the devotees in this world, they look up to that radiant world, the spirit, they look up to the lotus feet of Vishnu in the spiritual world. So that's another way of seeing or understanding this verse or this name of Jyotir-ganesvarah. And of course, Krishna in his pastimes, we don't see much of Garuda. Well, he's there also, just like when Krishna went to attack, was that Narakasura? Well, he took Satyabhama on Garuda. But not in Vrajadham. You won't find. There his associates are cows and the gopis and the gopas. So then, even the associates of Lord Vishnu, they partake of his nature, being very powerful. And in Vrindavan, his associates, they partake of his nature, being very simple and playful. In our Gauriya Sampradaya, we Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashanti Sur. We look up to Vishnupad and look up a little further. What's up? Oh, there's Ayodhya. Look up a little further. Oh, there's Dwaraka. Look up a little further. Oh, there's Vrindavan. So we look up there. What's happening up there? Krishna's looking after the cows. He's very happy to be surrounded by cows, and he's the master of so many cows. The gopis, when Krishna was born, they blessed him as you are blessed. May you be the master of many cows. That's the blessing to give to a cowherder. Not may you be the master of the planets and the stars. Krishna already the master of the planets and the stars. but he likes to have cows. The cow herder is proud of his cows. They like the Siva now in Saurashtra, those, you won't because you don't go to Saurashtra. You go. You see these cowherd men, they wear their dress, traditional dress, and they wander around with their cows and some goats, and they have a big herd. So for them, that's to have many cows, that's bliss for them. So Krishna, he likes that. He likes to be, yeah. Baladev Vidyabhushan, our Gauriya Vaishnava commentator, he also gives this meaning. It's interesting. Shankaracharya, he gives many names. He'll give a name. He'll give the understanding of it in terms of his power and his majesty. And the Vaishnava commentators, they give it in terms of his relationship with his devotees. So all the names are applicable. And Baladev Vidyabhushan, yeah, he also says that. Baladev Vidyabhushana, he says that Jyotir-ganesvarah means Krishna, who's the master of innumerable pure devotees. We say every day, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the unlimited hundreds of millions of pure devotees. So they're all trying to please him in various ways. Someone is holding an umbrella over Krishna. Someone is bringing his shoes. Someone is tending a garden so they can have nice flowers to offer to Krishna. Someone is churning the milk to make butter for Krishna. And in so many ways, the devotees are performing various services to please Krishna. So instead, so we should always consider we're very small. If we see the stars at night, we'll understand how small we are. And if we think of the stars, the great personalities in Krishna's pastimes, who are we compared to Garuda, Vishvaksena, the gopis, Lalita, Vishakha, the cowherd boys, Subal, Sridama, Arjuna. Arjuna is also one of the cowherd boys. There are so many cowherd. Who are we? Uddhava and Brahma, both great personalities. Uddhava, known as the greatest devotee in Dwarka, and Brahma, they want to be some grass in Vrindavan so that the devotees will sometimes walk on their head and they'll get the dust from their feet. So who are we in relation to these persons? Krishna, as Srila Prabhupada writes, Krishna does not like any of his devotees to be proud. As soon as a devotee becomes so, by some tactic, he cuts down that pride. So even to think, I am a great devotee, it's ridiculous. Who are we in comparison to Uddhava? And Uddhava thinks himself insignificant in relation to the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So it's just another phase of materialistic thinking. We're so used to thinking, I'm the best. I want to be the greatest. When I was a dog, I was thinking, I have to be the biggest dog. When I was a cockroach, I was thinking, now I have to be the biggest cockroach. And I was thinking, no, I'm a devotee. I have to be the biggest devotee. And say, I've been a devotee for so many years, you see, and a very senior devotee. Who's senior? We're all very small. Who are we in relation to the great, great devotees? To think I'm a great anything is ridiculous. I've heard it said that one devotee said to Srila Prabhupada that, Srila Prabhupada, I am the most fallen. And Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything. You're just insignificant. So even to say, I am the most fallen. No, I'm the most fallen. No, I'm the most fallen. If we can't be a good devotee, then we may think, well, I have to show myself to be the worst. I have to be the best at something. This is, what can I say? It's foolishness to think, I know, I'm better, I'm superior. We know that we're in a better position than non-devotees. That's from Shastric understanding. We are, but we should always think it's our great fortune. Not that we shouldn't think I'm better than non-devotee. Rather, we should think that I'm so fortunate to be in this position. Actually, they're all better than me. That kind of consciousness. Otherwise, in devotional life, if we become proud, then it's not pleasing to Krishna. The example given in Shastra is of offering oblations into ashes. By offering ghee into the fire with mantras, then the fire accepts the ghee and brings it up to Bhagavan, brings that offering. But if we offer into ashes, then we go through all the motions, but nothing happens. And think how do the great devotees themselves think? We find that when Krishna and all the Yadavas, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, and all the people, so many people, they went to Kurukshetra on the occasion of a solar eclipse. Then Draupadi, she asked the queens of Krishna about how they'd all become married to Krishna, and they all had their own individual story. And all of them said that, well, Rukmini told how she was kidnapped by Krishna, and then she finished her story by saying, my aspiration is to become a maidservant in Krishna's home. And they all did that. The next one, Jambavati, I was living with my father. Krishna came, fought with my father. When my father understood that actually this is my worshipable Ramachandra, then he gave me, along with this Samantaka jewel, to Krishna. And my aspiration is to be a maidservant sweeping the floor in Krishna's palace. And they went on like this. Satyabhama, who has a reputation of being very proud, hot-tempered, but she also said, yeah, my aspiration is to be a maidservant in the home. So that's about as high as you can get if we take the path of opulence. To be a queen of Krishna. But they're all thinking, I want to be a maidservant of Krishna. So, yeah, considering he's the Lord and Master of so many great devotees. Are we ever going to get to that level? You may think I'm a great devotee. Is Krishna going to come and kidnap you and take you away and marry you? He did that for Rukmini. Is he going to do it for me? Not very likely. He fought with so many kings and princes to take away the various queens. Is he going to do that for me? Well, you never know. If we become as humble as... Here we have the picture of Draupadi. When she called out for Krishna, then Krishna came and supplied the sari. She called out in all humility. When she had the mood of surrender, when she had the mood of full surrender to Krishna, then Krishna manifested himself as an unlimited sari. No, maybe not exactly sari, because she was wearing the... Here they've painted it like some design sari, but it was just some cloth because she was in her that time of the month. So just some covering cloth. And Krishna became manifested as unlimited cloth. So Dushashan, he became frustrated. He couldn't do. And you may think, well, why didn't Krishna just kill them all right there and then? Just waiting. He wasn't there, actually. He was busy fighting Shalva at the time. He was just waiting, yeah. These rascals, okay, let their wickedness ferment. And when the time is right, then we'll wipe them all out. So Krishna knows what he's doing. We may have to, we will have to suffer in this world in various ways. But just remember, Krishna is the master of all the planets. So if we come under his shelter, we know that whatever Krishna does, it's for the good. Again, then we may consult astrologers and this and that, but we should know that ultimately whatever Krishna ordains, it's all for the good. So this thing can help us to imbibe humility. At the same time, we don't just talk about humility. You should be humble, be humble, be humble. We don't go on saying it again and again. But we just understand how we are servants of Krishna and imbibe this mood, and then automatically from that humility will come. If we try to imbibe these qualities without having the basic understanding of why we should be humble or why we should be nice to others or whatever, and then it becomes material. Then we may make a show of humility. But real humility comes from understanding that I'm simply an insignificant servant of Krishna. We don't want to just have a show of humility. Even that's better than being puffed up and proud. But unless we're actually surrendered to Krishna, if we always, you have to be humble, you have to be humble, you have to be humble, you have to be, then okay, I have to be humble. But at the same time, we're scheming how to get our own advantage. So we may make a show of being humble, just like this. How to win friends and influence people. You pretend to be nice to people, and then they cooperate with you, and you get what you want done. So it's all selfish. But really understanding, I am so fortunate to have the opportunity to be the servant of He who is the master of so many, everything in the universe and all the great personalities. So we're so fortunate to be accepted into His service. Hare Krishna. Any question about this, please? Anything? No. Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kipasindribhyavcha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.